ninjas, pin sheet story ninjas. Hey, I hope you had fun with that. And I just wanted to follow up. Your next step, we don't want you to write yet. So let me ask you this. And I know the answer is yes. Has anything bad ever happened to you? Yeah, it happens to all of us. Have you ever retold that to anyone? Well, sure. Like when bad things happen, we don't like it at the time. But afterwards, we tell everybody we meet, and I'm going to guess there are some stories that you have told many times to many different people. Right? You meet them and they ask you about a camping trip and you're like, oh yeah. And then you tell them what happened, went wrong in your camping trip. Whatever it is, you all have favorite stories of yours that you've repeated to different people. And have you noticed you're pretty good at telling that story? Have you also noticed sometimes you add extra details each time? The more you tell it, the better it gets. That's part of great stories. So all I'm going to say to you is before you write a single word, and here I am pretending I'm at my keyboard, don't write, tell. Find someone you can tell your story to once. Find a second person you can tell your story again, and a third person to tell it a third time, and you will get so comfortable at telling your story that when you find that blank piece of paper in front of you, all you need to do is pretend you're telling the story. Write it as fast as you can. Don't worry about making any mistakes. You have begun with the snapshot, the who, what, the where, the when. Then you grab us with the problem. Now you get to slop, slop, slop. I have discovered, just to back up for a moment, if you have a blank piece of paper and you don't know what you're going to write about, that's the story aspect, then it's a lot tougher to write, correct? But even after you have the story in your head, I have also discovered it's difficult to write until now you have the words that you want to use to tell the story. I will always bring us back to this. You have story, you have writing, the delivery system. I am not a great writer, but I'm a pretty good editor. In other words, all I want to do is slop, slop, slop. It's really easy to write badly, correct? A lot easier than writing perfectly. So for our next step, all you're going to do is remember the way you told your story, and you're going to slop it down on paper as fast as possible. You're not going to care about spelling mistakes. You're not going to care about anything except for listen to the way you tell the story out loud. Write it down as fast as you can. There you go. How's that for an easier Story Ninja move to make writing simpler on the first draft?
This sloppy copy is from my story that shows up in the book called Rock the Boat. And if you have a chance later, reread the first sentence and see if it sounds better with or without the changes that I made. All the way through, you'll see where I pulled stuff out or put stuff in, and just about every single line has changes. Because I understand that's part of the writing process. Start with sloppy copy and then make your changes later. And it's all because we love being story ninjas and sharing our stories.
Could I remind you that I get lots of help from other people before my stories are published as books? I have a story editor, I have a writing editor, and I have an editor who helps me with my spelling. Please don't be afraid to go to your parents or your teachers. Ask them to read through your writing to help you with that. And when you have your polished story, you are going to feel so proud of yourself as a story ninja. Share it with as many people as possible.